They don't have to give you sick pay, and they don't have to look after people. No. They can say, oh, no work for you next week.
Yeah.
They said you have to do this or you'll have no money. So one of my friends got put in a homeless person's hostel with the danger of drug addicts and everything else. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we were told in no uncertain terms, if you say no, then there's no money.
No job.
The other night, I was in my room when I heard something from the lounge TV. Rachel Reeves standing in Parliament declaring that the Labour Party would be banning exploitive 0-hour contracts. Not exactly a shocker. After all, that's been a headline policy of Labour for years. But do they really believe that? Are they genuinely against 0-hour contracts? And are they still the party of the working class? Because if they were, they wouldn't be exploiting loopholes to hire people on those same 0-hour contracts that they despise, then abusing the system to the point of cruelty. Today, I'm going to show you undercover footage that exposes what the Labour government, which has ruled Wales for the last 26 years, doesn't want you to see. Now, I'm going to put a little disclaimer here. The woman in this recording had no idea we were filming. We did offer her a formal interview, and she almost agreed until she looked me up and backed out. I'm certain she wouldn't want this footage out there, but I know these days won't affect the job because she's been let go. And yet there's something that she said, something she kept repeating, that I just can't forget, and that's why I'm releasing this to you.
What we always say is, for evil to succeed, good men need do nothing. And so we cannot just sit back and let them do this. This building does not belong to them to give away. No, it belongs to the people of Cardiff.
If you want to see more videos like this, please head over to voxpopularmedia.com/register, where you can support us for as little as £5 a month. I could not make these types of videos or do these types of investigations if it wasn't for them. They have supported me massively over the last year. Thank you. Enjoy the video.
Well, maybe we could do an interview or something.
Yeah.
We're not meant to. Right, so the other side of it, we're not meant to, but all of us, including me, we're on a zero contract with an agency. So the council are not meant to agree with zero contracts. It's against their policy because they're neighbour.
Yeah.
So they get away with it by using an
Agency, yeah.
So nearly everyone, it gets worse, doesn't it? Nearly everyone that works for the council in St David's, in here, in the castle, City Hall, all of these buildings that belong to the council, the people are on zero contracts with agents. A couple of years ago, they decided that they would give the lease away for the building to the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. So the Royal Welsh, who are an amazing college, but they had been given the lease of the building. So obviously they're already upstairs in those rooms, they're teaching, and the cafe is now a big concert room, and they want these 2 levels as well. So the council are meant to find somewhere new for us to go, but they've decided they're not going to do that, and they're just going to shut. We do a lot of outreach work here, so it's not just about what you see now. We work with older people who perhaps forget, do reminiscent stuff with them, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing.
As we continued talking to her, she revealed that not only is she contracted on a 0-hour contract through an agency, but that when her daughter died, she wasn't allowed any sick pay. So while she was grieving, she had to go back to work just to pay for the funeral.
So I've worked for Cardiff Council as an agency worker for 6 years. I will get no redundancy.
So you wouldn't get all the benefits of a normal council worker if you were contracted to the council?
Yeah, after 6 years I would be made redundant.
Yeah, it is. It's a blatant scam. That's the council, isn't it?
Because they are a Labour council, they're not meant to agree with zero contracts. You think of a zero contract person, you think of someone who perhaps works in a bar, or does
casual work,
and you're filling in. But because we are zero contractors, we have no rights. If they employed me properly, it would cost them a huge amount less than it does now. They have to pay the agency as well. But it means that they can say to me, there's no work for you next week. Five died 5 years ago, and I was working in the castle. I couldn't get any sick pay. So I have to go back to work because of paying for the funeral and various things. To go back to work before her funeral, the agency would give no money. They don't have to give you sick pay. They don't have to.
No.
And they don't have to look after people. They can say, oh, no work for you next week.
Yeah.
buy. They only
Means then you can't rent.
with their agenda.
Yeah.
So you can't buy a house, you can't rent anywhere, you can't do anything on a zero contract.
No, well,
You're completely stuffed.
Yeah. During the pandemic, museum staff were forced to work with the homeless and drug addicts. They were told if they didn't, they wouldn't receive any money. All this from the party of the working class.
Yeah, what happens now then if this place gets shut down? What happens for you?
I'll be out of work.
You'll be out of work.
Yeah. Or the agency can redeploy me. Right, so I and my colleagues up here, during the pandemic, because we're zero contract, your agency, we had to be redeployed by the council. What they said you have to do is, or you'll have no money. So one of my friends got put in a homeless person's hostel. Bearing in mind she studied history. She got put in a homeless person with the danger of drug addicts and everything else. She had to do it. We were told if you don't do it, you get no money. I had to go in the street and direct people. I don't mind doing it, but we were put in these huts, and all over them it said on there, do not help homeless people during the pandemic, because the council fed them and housed them in hotels and things, right? Don't give people money. And so of course we're sitting there in this building with this written on there, and they're coming over then, these druggies, they're really mad, because it was me.
So the council made the decision to close this place during lockdowns and force you to do work that you didn't want to do, basically. So
And
their
we were
decision
told-
was to close this building.
Stuff
we
they're not
were
qualified
told,
for.
that we had to do it. We had no choice. One of my friends was told, as a person who studied history, he had to go work at the crematorium.
After a bit of investigating, we uncovered the two companies responsible, Manhire and Atlantic Resources. Both organisations are independent recruitment agencies. Most agencies of this nature operate on a zero-hour contract business model, whereby people apply to work with them, and if one of their clients needs any staff, they subcontract them to that company on a zero-hour basis. I filed a Freedom of Information request with Cardiff Council to find out exactly how many people are actively employed to the council through these agencies. How many, you may ask? 487.
We've been told by the council that they're not interested in museums and things because they're elitist.
Yeah,
I think we're social history.
Poor child.
Come on.
Again, that makes me the working.
So you look at these protests that have all set off from here.
Yeah.
There's nothing bloody elitist in any of these. I shouldn't swear, but I get so mad.
Yeah.
There is not. This is just about ordinary people having a voice. If you answer back or say you can't do something or you're not prepared to. I used to travel in an hour and a half each way to get to work from the valleys, and they give you a 3-hour shift. So
and you had to keep quiet and
they
everything.
wanted me to go and work in the street directing people when the Winter Wonderland thing was on over pandemic, because they were doing social distancing. So they said, could you go and do that working until midnight? I said, no, I'm not doing that. I studied history to work in a museum, not to stand in the street. But yeah, we were told in no uncertain terms, if you say no, then there's no money.
No job.
We live in a world where people wholeheartedly believe that a vote for Labour is a vote for the working class. For example, the elderly who are still stuck with the 20th century ideals of our political system. Labour isn't the same as it was 100 years ago when it was founded. And yes, the Tories are just as bad. But at least they're honest. Labour still masquerades as being for the working man and woman, but they aren't. This expose shows that they're not. This is the party who tells you to stop using zero-hour contracts while employing thousands of council staff members throughout Britain, not just Cardiff, on them. And yes, we'll be getting to that in a future episode. Even going so far as to refuse sick pay and force untrained staff to work with the homeless during COVID, or they wouldn't get paid. This is the true nature of the Labour Party in the modern epoch. Thank you very much for watching. It's been James Harvey with Vox Populi, and I'll speak to you all soon. But please, if you do like these types of investigations, you want to see more of them, head over to voxpopuli.com/register.